Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. I'd like us to go back to the book of Romans chapter 14 today. I often hear people say, it's my life, I can do what I want. And, even some of the popular Disney movies lately, like Frozen, and, let it go, let it go. I mean, the whole world seems to be, it's my life, and I want to live it the way I want to live it. And that seems to be the mantra of the new young generation. But young people, please, I don't want to be rude and I don't want to be harsh, but I'm sorry, it's not just your life. And you can't just say, it's my life, I can do what I want to with it. I want you to listen to what Paul says here. In Romans chapter 14, verse 7, "For none of us lives to himself alone, and none of us dies to himself alone. If we live to God, and if we die to the Lord. So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord." We belong to the Lord. We belong to the Lord. Throughout the writings of the Apostle Paul, he calls himself a doulos. In the English, it's often translated servant. But in the Greek, it's a very powerful word that means a love slave. Someone who had the right to go free. His debt was paid, but because he loved his family, loved the family he served, he wanted to serve out of love. And so they would take his ear and put it against the doorpost and drive an awl through it. And from that day forward, he was known as a doulos, or a love slave. He belonged to the family. Now, brothers and sisters, there has to come a change of thinking in our minds. Rebellion tells us, it's my life, I can do what I want. Rebellion tells us, it's my future, I can do what I want. Rebellion says, it's my body, I can do what I want. That's rebellion talking. Submission to God talking is, I belong to God. It's not just my life. If I live, I don't live to myself alone. If I die, I don't die to myself alone. If I live to the Lord. If I die to the Lord. So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. Young people, please hear me. If you're a born-again Christian, you've given your life to Jesus. You belong to Him. It's no longer your life. It's no longer your body. You belong to Him. Your body is the temple of God. Now, you have surrendered yourself. You have given yourself to Him. So live like that. Now, it's not a bad life. It's not a life of being dominated and controlled. It's a life of love and freedom. Freedom to realize I don't belong to myself. I belong to the Lord. I hear a lot of men talk to me. Your wife is the old ball and chain. I don't feel that way about marriage. I belong to my wife. She belongs to me. We are in covenant with each other. My decisions affect her. My life affects her. My death would affect her. I don't just live to myself. I live with the constant understanding I belong to her. Now, that is not a ball and chain. That is not being controlled. That is, forgive me, growing up and being an adult in life. Young people, you belong to the Lord. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.